Before I close, I want to ask for unanimous consent to enter into the record 3 letters from myself, Judiciary Chair Jordan, and Ways and Means Chair Smith to the Director of Secret Service, Director of the IRS, and the Attorney General, requesting more information pertaining to our investigation. Without objection, so ordered, as well as enter into the record the 2 bank memorandums that we've already submitted to our friends in the media that we're trying to teach financial literacy to. I'd like to enter those 2 memorandums into the record. Again, I want to thank you all so much for what you've done today. I can't imagine what you've been through. I apologize for what you have been through. This is what this committee is all about. The mission for the House Oversight Committee is to identify and root out waste, fraud, abuse, and mismanagement in the federal government. To do that, we depend on whistleblowers. Whistleblowers coming forward and telling their story. And that's what you all have done. And to think that there are people on the committee who have tried to question your credibility it's a pretty low mark for the history of the House Oversight Committee. So again, thank you. And what we learned today, let's just go back 6 months when this investigation started, when we became the majority. The laptop, according to many of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle and many of our friends in the media, was Russian disinformation. And what we now know is the laptop contained many of the financial records, the financial documents, the communications between both the president as well as other members of his family, with many of these associates, with many of these foreign nationals. So there's a clear path of evidence. I say that investigating the Biden family influence peddling is like investigating a bleeding bear through a snowstorm. There's so much evidence laying around. We've confirmed today what we've been saying in this committee for several months, that the Bidens took in over $10 million, $17.3 million to be exact, from adversaries. We have no earthly idea what they did to receive that money. I think that's concerning to every American. We have evidence that Hunter Biden spoke to his father about his businesses, and that Hunter used his father's name to shake down the Chinese Communist Party-backed person. We saw that in the WhatsApp message that you all released. We've seen that in other emails and correspondence from the laptop. We learned, unfortunately, that these brave, incredible whistleblowers have been retaliated against at the IRS and intimidated by the Biden shady legal team and their lapdogs in the press. And for that, I apologize, and I hope that that does not deter other brave, incredible whistleblowers from coming forward. You know, all roads lead to Joe Biden, the big guy, the guy who was set to go in business with the Chinese Communist Party-linked entity that wired money to the Biden family, as well as to Gal Luft, who was mentioned earlier by one of my colleagues on the other side of the aisle. Joe Biden was even set to share office space, according to an email, with this Chinese Communist Party-backed entity. And that's a concern. That should be a concern to every American, because whether you're Republican or Democrat, whether you're rural or urban, one thing that we can agree on is that Americans detest public corruption. That's why we have an IRS. That's why we have an IRS criminal division. That's why we have an oversight committee. That's why we have an ethics committee. That's why we're supposed to have a judicial system in America that provides equal justice for all. But we have to work together, and we have to be honest, and we have to respect our checks and balances. And what we learned today, as troubling as anything, is that your investigation that you spent years of your life on, that we've spent 6 months investigating, where you see a pattern of suspicious activity, where money flows from shady foreign companies and from shady foreign nationals through shell companies that are then laundered, and that's according to 6 different banks in the suspicious activity reports, laundered down in incremental payments to the Biden family for things that we have no idea what they did to receive the money. And as part of that years-long investigation, the FBI sitting on the whole time a document that alleges Joe Biden and Hunter Biden took a $5 million bribe from a Ukrainian oligarch, where there are bank records that show that the Bidens were receiving money from this entity. There was already evidence there to show that. Now, I don't know whether that allegation is true or not. I know the FBI never investigated, and what we know from today, they never communicated with the IRS criminal division that spent years investigating this. So there's two things that's happening here with the Oversight Committee with respect to the President of the United States. There's the investigation of the Biden corruption, and there's the investigation of the cover-up. Again, I want to thank you all for the work that you have done over the years. We appreciate that. The American people appreciate that. The taxpayers appreciate that. And we look forward to receiving the additional information through the Ways and Means Committee, through the proper process as we continue our investigation. With that,